Fire dragons. The most powerful fire dragons in all of the world. They say that fire can consume anything, that it can level a city in mere moments. And yet, there is one dragon among them who stands out above the rest. His name is Natsu. His fire burns so hot that it rivals the very sun itself. He is a force to be reckoned with. He has the strength to level whole continents. He has the speed to rival even the quickest of lightning. And he has the determination to never back down, no matter the odds. He is Natsu, the Flame Dragon Slayer, and he is the most powerful fire dragon in all of the world. His superior senses allow him to detect and understand the world around him in ways that would be unfathomable to a normal human. He can sense the location, true physiology, intent, and even the presence of invisible beings with an uncanny precision. The magnitude of his sensing abilities allows him to sense dangerous attacks, detect whether or not a spell is present on an object, and even tell whether or not someone is dead, all through his superior senses. If someone has a smell that he's encountered before, he can use his senses to identify them immediately. These incredible senses make him one of the most unique individuals in the world. With her incredible celestial magic, pre-time skip Lucy's Aquarius is able to create monstrous columns of water that can cover entire towns. This level of power is comparable to some of the strongest mages we see in the first half of the series, such as Natsu and Grey. However, it pales in comparison to the likes of Erza, who is a low S-class mage and one of the most powerful mages in the entire world. In the Laxus arc, Erza could tank 200 out of the 300 Thunder Palace Lacrima, which could destroy Magnolia, which is an entire city. This places Natsu from that arc at City Plus levels of power from being able to fight and tank Laxus, who is at least relative to Erza. This is consistent, as Erza in the anime was stated strong enough to split mountains in 3 attacks, and this is before any of the 2 major time skips in the series. In the Aeolus arc, Erza could once again fight her Aeolus counterpart with their clash destroying the island they were on. Brandish, one of the weakest of the Spriggan 12, could shrink and destroy entire islands casually in seconds. She was fodder to Dimaria, who got 0 diffed by Natsu. A much weaker dragon form Acnologia could also destroy Tenrujima Island in 1 casual blast, and early series Gildarts could survive an encounter with him barely. Alvarez arc in the Dragon Cry movie, Natsu fights Animus. A dragon who absorbs the Dragon Cry, an ancient weapon that harnessed the residual energy of several dragons killed by Acnologia, which was stated to have the destructive capacity of dozens of Etherion blasts. Etherion is a weapon in the fairy tale universe which can demolish entire countries. So scaling off this Dragon Cry should be at least continent level in terms of power, by being dozens of times above country level Nukis. This is consistent, as in the movie it's stated that Ishgar itself will be destroyed with its power and Animus absorbs all the energy. Alvarez arc, Natsu is able to fight on par with Animus and tanked several attacks from him. However, near the end he goes into a partial END mode and blitzes and stomps the shit out of DC Animus, even cleaving right through his ultimate attack. And yes, this movie is canon. Hiro Mishima, the mangaka of Fairy Tail, has confirmed it in a promotional leaflet. So DC Animus should be at least Continental Plus, probably even higher. In the manga, Brandish says that there's a distance of 370 kilometers between Haragon Port and Magnolia. Look at the distance between them on the full map of Fiore. If you calculate the size of the country of Fiore based on that, it's easily thousands of kilometers in size, which makes Etherion's feat of being able to bust it in one shot a possible Continental Plus feat on its own. Since DC Animus is dozens of times above this, it makes him multi-continental possibly. The distance between Haragon and Magnolia, being in the hundreds of kilometers range, is backed up by the official light novels. It's stated that it would take hours for cars and trains to travel said distance, which, even taking conservative estimates for said vehicles, should come down to at least a few hundred kilometers. The Spriggan 12 of the final arc are stated to be above this level of power, as they are the strongest enemies in the series. Wall Ato, also one of the Spriggan 12, and he had enough power to fire Etherion by himself, and so should scale to it in attack potency. Characters like August are stated to be incomparably stronger than the rest of the Spriggan 12, like Wall Ado, and Irene is an equal to him, so having the top-tier Spriggan 12 at multi-continental is not that inconsistent. This wasn't shown in the manga, but in the anime, Wall Ato was actually shown charging up the actual Etherion cannon in space under his own power as well. Some calculations I've seen also put Irene's Deus Sema at planetary levels of power. This is because of the kinetic energy generated by the extremely fast-moving meteor. Irene being able to affect the entire planet with her attacks is also not inconsistent, considering that she could warp the entire world with her magic at one point. Urza was able to also cleave through Deo-sama attack in one shot. Natsu in his strongest forms in turn completely surpasses August and Irene in power. Some people also downplay the fairy tale universe because of this statement. They make the argument that August was the strongest of the Spriggan 12 and had to sacrifice himself to even destroy a country. But there is so much wrong with this argument. Firstly, attack potency does not equal destructive capacity. It is perfectly possible that August only has the area of effect to destroy an entire country, though his power scales to multi-continental. I mean, he would be far stronger than fodder-tier Spriggan 12 like Invel, who surpasses the Continental plus Animus via multiple LORP statements. So how can his strongest attack be only country level? Secondly, August wasn't just going to destroy Fiore. He was going to melt and vaporize the entire Earth in said country, as well as kill every single mage on the entire nation with flames of such intensity that their very blood would evaporate. It takes significantly more energy to vaporize earth and rock than to just destroy it. The energy output from August with Ars Magia isn't just for destroying a country, it's for vaporizing it off the face of the planet with no magic from the mages being capable of stopping it. Thirdly, I literally showed how Fiore is the size of a continent, so at absolute worst, this feat is continental. This is far more consistent, as it makes sense of August's strongest attack to be multi-continental, if his normal power is at least continental. In fact, Ars Magia being so ridiculously strong is actually a feat for the verse, rather than downplay. Guess what? August with Ars Magia is multi-continental, and he is still nothing to Acnologia or the Dragon Gods, even with his suicide move. He himself stated numerous times that the only way to beat Acno is Zeref getting Fairy Heart, and Irene also confirmed it. In the new spin-off manga 100 Years Quest, it is stated that Ignia destroyed several countries on his own. As shown, Fiore, one of the smaller countries in the fairy tale universe, is already continental in size. You can also rank the verse higher with the movies and the anime. In the first movie Phoenix Priestess, the Phoenix is stated capable of destroying the entire world multiple times, and its final blast was this big. Even when the power was interrupted and the Phoenix couldn't launch the spell, simply dispelling itself caused shockwaves across the entire planet's surface. This movie is also canon. Mishima did the concept art and drafts. The character Eclair from the movie also appears in one of Natsu's flashbacks in the manga. This scene from the 100 Years Quest confirms the first movie to be canon, as it talks about the plot of the movie, and you see two main "here is the Phoenix" stated to be planetary. Even if you don't think that the FT Guild scale to Phoenix, it's also stated in the movie that Zeref's magic power rivals the Phoenix. So even discounting the movie's feats, Zeref's magic power rivals a being who is capable of destroying the entire planet by both lore and the plot of the movie. What's more, this is a way weaker Zeref who doesn't have Fairy Heart and other such amps. Natsu using Igneal's power, Fire Dragon King mode, was already stronger than this Zeref, and got even stronger with some of his higher forms. In the 100-Year Quest manga, his power is compared to Igneal, Atlas Flame, and such. Dragons and some characters like Ignea still surpass this level of power. Dragon Force Natsu in 100 Years Quest could also damage and defeat a weakened Godseed Alderon who stated he might be strong enough to burn the world with his power, which can be possibly interpreted as planetary. You can also use the anime for scaling Natsu higher. First of all, the anime is canon, and Mishima, the mangaka, has referenced the validity of anime arcs multiple times in the manga Q&As and other such places. While rewatching the Adolis filler arc from the anime, I came across an interesting statement for the Celestial Spirit King, where his eclipse form, after absorbing the 13 other eclipse spirits, is stated to be able to destroy the entire celestial spirit world. How big is the CSW? Well, it's described as a separate dimension, and as we see in CH-262, it might contain stars in it. Some people might argue that those things in the background aren't stars, but the white spheres are just white in color. They don't have light emanating from them, unlike the ones in the background which emit light, which is why they can be seen from that far away. So I think they might be stars, but this is something I completely discovered by accident recently. You can also argue that since the characters can see each other and the celestial spirits, there must be a light source somewhere in the dimension, which hints at the existence of a star. Anyway, so, If the anime is taken to be canon, the Eclipse CSK can destroy a multi-solar system-sized dimension over a period of time, and the FT Guild can slightly harm and damage this CSK. Natsu also broke its core with this attack. Going back, Natsu was lightning speed in Chapter 7. Against the Vanish brothers, two synchronized lightning users was unable to land a single hit on base. Natsu even stated it in the manga, so he is definitely above the speed of lightning. I'd argue Natsu has faster than light reaction and techniques also. In the Grand Magic games, Natsu dodged Sting's breath attack, stated to be light and have laser attributes. A lot of people say Sting's magic is white magic instead of light, which I'm going to debunk later on. Anyway, Natsu have other feats of dodging light, like against Future Rogue. He merged his magic with Sting's to create shadow and light magic unison, which he states to be light and shadow magic. And you also have Mardgear stating the same. Putting Natsu reaction speed below the light tier would be incorrect for multiple reasons. There are multiple feats that put Natsu at their level. Plus, even God tier and mid-tier characters have the feats as well. For example, Kaguya, block light slashes. Gildart's crushing light itself, Sting reacting to Lacard's magic. As you can see, white and light magic is the same. It is always referenced in the same way. It's the same as Arya's airspace magic and Wendy's sky magic being wind magic. So saying Sting uses white magic does not debunk the feat. Sting magic, at the very least his dragon roar, moves at the speed of light. In Chapter 1 of Fairy Tale Magic is stated to be natural by Makarov, meaning magic is infused with the world's natural wavelength. Elemental magic is natural. There is no reason to believe Sting magic wouldn't be light speed, as canon already dictates that it is. Fairy Tale has already proven science exists within the verse, and magic directly influences it. Some examples are Natsu creating a low pressure point, and Gajeel combining iron and carbon to turn into steel, meaning magic itself is natural or at the very least have natural attributes. Sting roar bending is not a debunk of its initial speed. Firstly, it's been stated and shown that those with high magic control can alter size, speed, and shape of their magic, and sometimes even the effects. That's nothing new within the series. An example of this is from the same fight as the other scan I posted with the low pressure point, Natsu fight against Aragorn. As you can see, the same Natsu that created a low pressure also created a flame that doesn't burn but acts as a grappling hook. Despite all of Natsu feats, would you say his magic doesn't have fire properties? Plus, inverse mechanics debunks that notion as well. Ether Nano was stated to be a combination of multiple elements within the fairy tale world. If we take that statement to heart, then Sting light bending is explainable, as things such as ice have refraction properties. And to add to the fact that Natsu is faster than light, he is faster than both Tenru Island Gildarts and Blue Note. Blue Note himself react to Fairy Glitter, a move explicitly stated to be light itself. He dodge at point-blank range and activate his magic to null the effects, meaning his reaction and magic activation speed is faster than light. And with everything I said beforehand and multipliers that are consistent, Natsu can be wanked to MFTL. Overall, Natsu scales to multi-solar system, with massively faster than light speeds. Natsu had come long way. From burning down a village with a single blast to taking down some of the strongest mages in the world. Natsu's power has always been evident. With a heart of flame and a hot-headed attitude, this young boy holds immense power that continues to grow stronger with each passing day. But all of this gets looked down on by Single Dragon.